Is peace in Ukraine a pipe dream? European leaders are reportedly exploring a radical idea, a 40-kilometer buffer zone between Ukrainian and Russian forces along the front line, potentially as part of a peace deal. But here's where it gets controversial. This proposal raises more questions than answers. According to multiple diplomats, the concept is being seriously debated, though there's no consensus on how wide the buffer zone should be or whether Kyiv would even accept it. After nearly 4 years of war, some see this as a desperate attempt to stabilize a fragile situation. Yet Ukraine's leaders may balk at territorial concessions, which would likely be a condition for such a plan. The stakes are high. Officials suggest anywhere from 4,000 to 60,000 peacekeepers, potentially including French and British troops, might be needed to patrol the zone. But critics argue this could backfire. A former Pentagon official, Jim Townsend, called the idea grasping at straws, warning that Russian aggression might not stop just because a buffer exists. And this is the part most people miss. Even if the buffer zone were created, it would require strict enforcement. Russian military analyst Kirill Mikhailov dismissed the plan as meaningless without Russia's consent, stressing that an international body like the OSCE would need to oversee it. He also highlighted the logistical nightmare: over 100,000 troops, advanced surveillance tech, and a sanctions mechanism to deter violations. The costs? Astronomical. Military analyst Ivan Stupak compared it to the buffer zone between Cyprus and northern Cyprus, which cost €43 million annually. He estimates monthly expenses could hit hundreds of millions, leaving the UN, EU, or US footing the bill, a tough sell politically. Stupak also warned that the buffer zone would need to be completely lifeless, devoid of civilians and troops, monitored by motion sensors and radars. But who would pay for this? And how long would peacekeepers stay? Meanwhile, a Russian expert, speaking anonymously, called the proposal obviously impossible, citing Putin's refusal to allow NATO troops in Ukraine. Here's another twist. Russia insists the buffer zone would be under its control, while Ukraine would resist foreign peacekeepers from China or Belarus. Stupak argues that a buffer zone is only viable after a peace treaty is signed, with clear rules on sanctions and troop deployment. Yet, the practical challenges, funding, monitoring, and political trust, make this idea seem more like a fantasy than a solution. So what do you think? Is this a realistic path to peace, or a distraction from the hard truths of war? Share your thoughts in the comments. Let's debate what's possible.